So today I'm going to talk about 5 things that most piano students do and why they don't make progress because of this. I can guarantee you if you fix these 5 things, you will make progress faster and will have less frustration. Mistake number 1 is most of people play too fast. Playing slow is the key to make progress. So because your brain needs to process stuff and it's a lot of information, if you do it too fast from the beginning, you're just under stress and you don't perform very well. If you keep practicing stuff very slow and you be patient, you just repeat it and try to improve it slowly, the speed will come by itself. And then what people understand by slow, so most of people, I say, they play like this. And then I say, you have to practice it slow. And then they do, well, it's slower, but it's not slow for most of people. And for example, this plays. So that's where, for example, some people struggle, right? So slow would be like, actually slow doesn't really have a definition. Slow would be as slow enough so you feel completely comfortable and you can anticipate everything what's happening. You have time to think. And for actually etudes like Chopin or difficult pieces, slow is really the key. So like, and that's an etude I know, so if I don't know it, I would probably go even slower, right? So typically a place like this, you would, if it doesn't work, you would start by hands separate first. And be sure this works, like, right? Know exactly what happens both hands, and then try slow together and see where they meet, what's happening. Right? Now again, it's a difficult example because I know this piece, but it's how you should do it there, right? Also, practicing slow makes you make less mistakes and makes you memorize, have this muscle memory of the right stuff sooner. If you play messy and too fast, you will memorize a lot of messy and fast stuff, and it will stay unclear in your head and in your fingers. Second mistake everyone is doing, or many people are doing, is repeating without thinking. So repeating is key, of course, and I'm saying this a lot, and people don't always get it. So the first stuff is to understand it's like repetition will get you to success, right? To succeed in a place, in a passage. But you don't have just to repeat. You also have to think about what you do. You have to listen to what you do, and you have to have a goal each time you repeat. So typically people repeat, and they didn't notice if there was a difference or a mistake or anything, or they do the same mistake and they repeat this stuff without thinking what's wrong. Actually, oh, I was doing C sharp, didn't notice, right? That's the stuff you need to notice. And even if it's fine, but you, for example, you could repeat and not realize, oh, I'm actually doing the first note too long, right? So there's another stuff. So you should listen and have a critical thinking on each repetition you did and try to improve to the next one, right? And think, this time I will have to have it more precise, or this time I want to have it more legato or more staccato, or a bit faster or slower with no mistake. There should always be a goal in the repetition. Next common mistake by practicing is repeating at the beginning all the time. So people make a mistake here, they will start there again because that's where they can start, right? And that's also a huge mistake. If you have a problem anywhere, you should actually start exactly where. First, you should correct the mistake. For example, if your problem is this, right, you should first learn this, or hand separate and then put it together. And then start one bar before. And then eventually start from the beginning, right? Same here, if you have a problem here, let's say on the left, well, you should first, so this will force you to read notes and to know what you have to play exactly on this place. And you believe me, this place you will probably forget less fast than if you always start there. Otherwise, it's just a succession of reflex. And if you take one away, nothing works again, and you always are forced to start from the beginning. So it means you don't know the places separately. Ideally, you would practice by starting each measure, because then you would know each measure exactly how it starts, which octave, which finger, etc. And by the way, side note, also a big mistake is people practice without notes. You should practice with the notes, with the book, and even if you know it by heart, because every time you have a small hesitation, you should reactivate this visual memory by just looking at the notes. And again, looking at the notes forces you to practice reading notes. So you get more fluent with just finding out where you are. Also, actually, knowing how your pages look is also a good thing, because if you play a piece and you see in your head, you see this page in your head, and you know where is this, where G major section is starting, for example, here. You see, I knew it's there. I didn't have to search where's G major, right? I know this section starts more or less here in the middle. I can see it when I play. I see the score. This is one more memory you have to practice. So another big mistake people are doing is trying to play by ear and not really pay attention to the rhythm and the pulse. And actually, every piece you play, you should feel a pulse, like you should feel. So it means when I'm here, tack, 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 I'm feeling the same pulse the whole piece. I can move this pulse. I can go slightly faster or slow if I decide, but I'm feeling a pulse. That's what a lot of the beginners don't do. And it's difficult in the beginning. I know that's quite difficult. You can train this eventually with a metronome. The other thing is also paying attention to the rhythm. So typical mistake people make here is they play this fast. And when I come here, they slow down and they think they play the same speed, but they play the 16 here like they play the 8 notes here. So this 8 note should go twice slower as the 16th here, right? And that's because they don't feel the pulse and because they didn't pay attention to the rhythm. And they try to do it by ear, but very often you will notice your ear is not that good as you think. So you better trust what you see instead of trusting what you think you hear, because your memory or your ear are mostly not so good. And by the way, little advertisement, that's why I'm creating an app. My app, Go Practice Pro, that's in iOS for the moment, will be on Android soon, is meant to practice rhythm. So typically a rhythm exercise, just separate like only the rhythm where you would tap stuff like that. For example, this first rhythm, 1, 2, da, 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 2, da, 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 right? And the other section is reading notes. So there are 7 cleaves. You need only 2 for the piano, but there are other instruments. Or for conservatory, you need 7 to enter. You can practice this too, and you can time your practice because this motivates if you see your statistic, etc. The mistake number 5, but that's a difficult one. That's one mostly that comes once you're a bit free from reading notes, rhythm, fingerings, etc. It's listening to yourself. People don't listen to themselves. If you cannot listen, and I know this problem, I had this for a long time too, right? In conservatory, if you can't listen to yourself, you can record yourself and listen. That's one easy way to do. And again, in my app, I have a recording device, so you can record yourself and listen to what you just played, and it's saved. You can delete it or you can edit it. And of course, later the goal would be that when you are playing, when you are a bit free from notes, rhythm, and stuff like this, you start to listen to yourself. And that's also, again, to the recording. That's why the recording also can help, because listening to yourself, you have the feeling you do some stuff. And when you listen to the recording, you realize what you thought you were hearing is not really that. And this also gives you the possibility to adjust this kind of transformation you make when you listen to yourself and you think you hear some stuff. I had this very often where I was super happy with something. I thought that what I heard was exactly what I want. And then when I listened to the recording, I realized actually that it's not. And then I just realized that actually I was hearing this, but in some ways my ear or my head was transforming what I was hearing or covering or hiding what I was hearing, right? So yeah, that's also a good thing. So you would like to play and really try to focus on listening. And ask yourself questions. Is my right hand too loud? Is my left hand too fast? Am I synchronized? Is the sound nice? Is my trill clean? So you would repeat stuff and listen and try to see what you hear and correct on what you hear. So listening is a big part of practicing also, of course. So believe me, if you do this stuff, you will see you will save time. I mean, practice is one of the strange topics. practicing slow will make you make progress faster. People don't do it because they think it's slow and will take forever. But actually, if you play 150 times something fast, you will make no progress or very little. And if you play something 10 or 20 times slow, you will have made much more progress. So it's counterintuitive. Believe I'm professional. I have like tons of students in 25 years. It's always the same problems and people always struggle with the same stuff. It's the stuff I just said in this video. Try this. It will make you make progress faster, save you a lot of frustration. If you like this video, subscribe to it. Download the app. Let me know if you want to improve stuff. The app is improving very fast. We are adding AI soon, chatbots. I'm adding clips. I'm adding exercise. And then I will test what people like, and I will start to improve it like this. And the goal between us, that's a little tip for later, a little secret. I want to have an app that actually can teach you piano or an instrument, and that would be able to listen as good as a teacher and give you better feedback than a teacher and be more patient than a teacher. That's secret, that's between us.